Imagine you are on board an airplane, and suddenly it begins to plunge sharply. In one single day, passengers on 2 different flights on separate continents faced the most severe turbulence, which is becoming an increasingly serious threat for millions of people. While airline pilots struggle with the traps of air pockets, natural disasters are raging on the ground. In this edition, the largest climate catastrophes of the past week, the most dangerous manifestations of turbulence, and the potential risks for air travel in the near future. United States. On the 18th of September, the remnants of Storm Mario brought severe thunderstorms to Southern California, triggering powerful landslides and flash floods. San Bernardino County was hit especially hard. In some areas, nearly 4 months' worth of rainfall fell in just 1 hour. Roads and homes were inundated by mud flows, and 10 people trapped in cars on the highway remained stuck for almost 10 hours until rescuers cleared the road. Downpours over the desert flooded Death Valley National Park, turning roads into muddy slush and forcing the closure of several routes. An incident near the city of Barstow ended in tragedy. Torrents of water swept away a car carrying a father and his 2-year-old son. Sadly, the child did not survive. More than 9,200 lightning strikes were recorded during the storm, an extraordinarily high number for this arid region. September in Southern California is usually dry, but this year abnormal rain struck areas that had been burned by the wildfires of 2020. The scorched slopes were unable to retain moisture, leading to destructive landslides and debris flows. Super Typhoon Ragasa. On the 22nd of September, the Philippines fell under the power of Super Typhoon Ragasa. Sustained wind speeds exceeded 265 kilometers per hour, with gusts reaching nearly 300, corresponding to Category 5 of a tropical cyclone. Wave heights rose to 14 meters. Ragasa became the strongest tropical cyclone on the planet this year. The typhoon passed through the Babuyan Archipelago in close proximity to the densely populated island of Luzon. Nearly 25,000 people were evacuated in advance and relocated to temporary shelters. The storm brought down power lines, uprooted hundreds of trees, and caused floods and landslides in several regions. All domestic flights, ferry services, and fishing operations were suspended due to the storm's impact. In 29 provinces across the country, including the capital Manila, schools and government offices were temporarily closed. Thousands of hectares of rice and cornfields ready for harvest were flooded and flattened by the wind, putting the entire region at risk of a food crisis. In the northern province of Benguet, a landslide on a major highway caused the death of 1 person and injured 7 others. Tragedy also struck at sea. Under the force of the storm, a fishing vessel carrying 13 people capsized, resulting in the deaths of 7 individuals. From the 22nd of September, the eastern part of Taiwan also came under the impact of the outer edge of Typhoon Ragasa, which brought colossal rainfall, in some places up to 1,000 millimeters of precipitation. On the 23rd of September in Hualien County, heavy rains overflowed a lake that had formed after a summer landslide. 60 million tons of water broke through the natural dam and rushed down the valley, engulfing the tourist town of Guangfu. Eyewitnesses described the disaster as a tsunami. Raging torrents of water mixed with silt and mud swept away cars and houses, leaving behind devastated neighborhoods. Residents sought refuge on upper floors. Bridges and roads in the county were closed, and train traffic was halted. No fewer than 17 people died, and another 17 remain missing. On the 24th of September, the typhoon reached mainland China. In Guangdong province, more than 2 million people were evacuated as a precaution. In the city of Yangzhong, powerful gusts of wind toppled over 50,000 trees, damaged numerous buildings, and caused widespread power outages. In Hong Kong, the highest danger level was declared, and more than 100 people were injured. Russia. On the 17th of September, the Republic of Dagestan was hit by extreme rainfall, turning daily life into a series of trials and chaos. In Makachkala, in just 3 hours, the sky poured down half of the city's monthly rainfall. The capital's streets instantly transformed into rivers, where cars no longer drove but floated. It got even worse. In just 2 days, the city received as much water as usually falls in 2 months. A significant part of the foothills of Dagestan was affected, including major cities such as Izberbash, Kaspisk, and Makachkala. Cars stalled one after another in the streets, drowning in the water, while some were literally swept away by the current. Water rose so high that in some houses it broke in through the windows. Residents were strongly advised not to drink tap water due to the risk of contamination. 73 settlements were left without electricity. People reported disruptions in internet and mobile services, and in some areas there was complete information, isolation, a true blackout. Destroyed bridges and landslides cut off 40 villages, leaving them without any transportation access. An unusually early snowfall in the mountains of Dagestan became a serious challenge for shepherds. In the Gumbatovsky district, at an altitude of more than 2.5 kilometers, a flock of several thousand sheep was trapped in snowdrifts. The trails were blocked by snow, leaving the animals completely unable to escape. On the night of the 21st of September, villagers from Argvani reached the shepherds with an off-road vehicle and a bulldozer. Their help was timely. The livestock was moved to a safe area, preventing major losses. Georgia. From the 20th of September, a powerful rainstorm struck Georgia. The Republic of Ajara was at the epicenter of the disaster. Roads and houses were flooded, farmland and power lines were damaged. The famous resort city of Batumi was also affected. Winds toppled trees in squares and parks, while heavy rains clogged the central water intake, leaving most of the city's residents without drinking water. The coastline and beaches were battered by heavy surf. Along almost the entire coast of Ajara, sea waves left behind masses of algae and debris, forcing authorities to impose a strict ban on swimming in the sea. In the municipality of Kelvachhauri, overflowing river waters inundated the Machakela Valley, a picturesque corner of Ajara, cutting it off from the rest of the world. Some residents were evacuated to safer locations. Tourist infrastructure suffered serious damage. Water flooded cafes and restaurants, including a well-known establishment in Machakela National Park. 2 people were injured in the collapse of a residential building in the municipality of Kedah. In the Samagrelo Upper Svaneti region, on the 21st of September, unrelenting rainfall damaged infrastructure across several municipalities. Commercial properties, ground-floor residences, and household plots were flooded. Residents' property was damaged, including furniture and appliances, and winter food supplies were destroyed. Heavy rains damaged bridge culverts, and travel along certain roads was interrupted due to landslides. Spain. On the 21st of September, a Ryanair plane traveling from Vitoria, a city in northern Spain, to Palma de Mallorca encountered severe turbulence during landing. At the time, all 180 passengers were seated and buckled, avoiding injuries. However, flight attendants who were preparing the cabin for landing were injured. 2 of them sustained serious injuries. One flight attendant was thrown and struck the ceiling, while another was hit by a food trolley. The remaining crew members suffered minor injuries, and all received medical assistance after landing. Eyewitnesses reported that the turbulence occurred unexpectedly and was so intense that it shocked them after what had been a calm flight. Turkey. On the 18th of September, the south and west of Turkey were hit by new large-scale wildfires. The strongest of them flared up in the resort city of Antalya. Winds picked up the flames and drove them across mountain slopes and forested areas, turning tourist districts into disaster zones. The fire was fought from both air and ground. The operation involved 13 helicopters, 4 firefighting planes, and approximately 800 rescuers. A A particularly dangerous fire broke out near Alanya, quickly approaching residential areas. No casualties were reported, but one person suffered smoke inhalation and was hospitalized. The fire forced the authorities in Antalya to evacuate residents from more than 200 homes. In the vicinity of the city of Belek, a new large-scale wildfire broke out, with flames reaching close to tourist facilities. At the site of a prestigious 5-star hotel, the fire engulfed bars and technical structures. To avoid casualties, authorities began evacuating guests and hotel staff from the danger zone. Brazil. Over the past week, southern Brazil was hit by severe weather, hurricane-force winds, heavy rain, and hail. At Campo de Marte Airport, wind gusts reached 98 kilometers per hour, considered a critical level for the region. Gusty winds uprooted trees and damaged structures that could not withstand the force of the storm. In São Paulo state, at least 8 people were injured and required medical assistance. In the state capital, the Brás metro station was closed after part of its roof collapsed. In Paraná state, a falling tree claimed the life of a woman, while in Santa Catarina state, a tornado swept through the small town of Barra Bonita, destroying everything in its path. On the 22nd of September, at the Toyota plant in Porto Feliz, wind gusts exceeding 100 kilometers per hour destroyed a large warehouse hall. 10 people were injured. The storm caused colossal damage. Roofs were torn off thousands of homes. Fallen trees and power line poles halted traffic and left millions without electricity. Several cities also faced another challenge: widespread water supply disruptions. On the 21st of September, an aviation incident occurred during the storm. A LATAM Airlines plane encountered severe turbulence and hail shortly after takeoff, causing panic in the cabin. Eyewitnesses reported that the event lasted approximately 15 minutes and felt like riding a roller coaster. Passengers screamed, and the atmosphere in the cabin was filled with fear and desperation. Although the nose of the aircraft was damaged, it landed safely at its destination, and no one on board was injured. Argentina. The central provinces of Argentina faced the aftermath of severe storms on the night of the 20th of September, prompting the declaration of a state of emergency. In Santa Rosa, La Pampa province, hailstorms were so intense that streets turned into icy streams. In the city of Ordóñez and the surrounding Trenqueloquen area, hailstones varied in size, from the size of a chicken egg to a tennis ball. On social media, people shared footage showing hail literally bursting out of sewers, even from toilets inside homes, sweeping away drains and pipes. In the city of Merlo, a strong gust of wind tore off a structure, which collapsed onto the facade of a house, leaving a family with 3 children trapped inside. In Santa Fe province, hurricane-force winds ripped roofs off several dozen houses, forcing residents to quickly leave dangerous buildings. In Mendoza province, harsh weather created serious challenges. Snowfall and frosts down to -12 degrees Celsius for 2 days paralyzed traffic over the Cristo Redentor Pass, a key land route between Argentina and Chile. The most important point: despite all the destruction and damage, the storm did not claim any human lives. Familiar flight routes that were once considered safe now carry increased risk. According to the International Civil Aviation Organization, in the year 2024, nearly 75% of serious injuries on board aircraft were related to turbulence. The most tragic case occurred in Brazil. In just 1 minute, a plane plummeted from an altitude of more than 5 kilometers, leaving no chance for survival. All passengers and crew perished. In recent years, research has recorded not only an increase in turbulence incidents, but also their intensity. This alarming topic has drawn attention from major media outlets worldwide. Despite the observed trend of increasing turbulence, so-called experts claim that it is merely uncomfortable for passengers and does not pose a significant safety threat. Experts identify several types of turbulence: convective, orographic, and the most dangerous, little-studied type, clear air turbulence. Currently, this phenomenon cannot be forecasted or detected by radar. The true causes of clear air turbulence remain unknown to scientists. Modern science associates it with sudden changes in wind direction or speed. However, this does not explain why aircraft entering such zones immediately lose tens of meters of altitude within a matter of seconds. Undoubtedly, atmospheric heating affects turbulence and jet streams. Yet the true origins of the phenomenon run deeper into electromagnetic anomalies caused by processes within the Earth's interior. In April of 2023, the ALLATRA scientists' report on the nature of clear air turbulence and the emergence of mysterious air pockets was presented. At that time, they warned that such incidents would only become more frequent in the future. Research shows that in areas of magnetic anomalies, air literally loses its usual properties. The ionization of atmospheric molecules changes. Molecular bonds weaken, leaving aircraft without the normal lift they rely upon. If decisive action is not taken, the foreseeable future could see a point where airplanes and helicopters simply cannot take off, and even if they do, landing safely will be highly uncertain. Ignoring the rapid rise in turbulence directly endangers the lives of millions of people. Today, we live in a world where priorities are set so that profit is placed above human life. Consequently, research into turbulence anomalies is conducted superficially, and the real threat will be kept quiet until the last moment. How many airlines do you think will openly declare that flying has become dangerous? Draw your own conclusions.